Hello friends, this is Mayank Chachara from Ziyun Tech. I am the marketing manager for the Ziyun brand, and today I'm in Turkey to tell you a lot of things about the Ziyun gimbals. So the first gimbal right now in front of me is the Ziyun Crane 4, and I'm going to tell you the most important features of this gimbal. The first feature is this is one of the best gimbal from the Ziyun brand, which can take a payload of around 4.5 to 5.5 kg depending on the size. A 3-axis gimbal which has an inbuilt light, which is a 10-volt inbuilt light. We have the Kelvin control of the light. We have the vertical and the landscape mounting clip in this gimbal, and then we have a lot of modes which is basically used to perform different variation in the shootings. So when we buy a gimbal, we have to see a lot of things in a gimbal. So the first important thing is the payload. We have a very nice payload in this gimbal. The second thing is the mode. We have more than 7 modes in the gimbal. If you want to do 360, you can do it. If you want to do a portrait mode, you can actually do it. If you want different operations like a sliding shot or pan follow or follow shots, you can perform all the different angles with this Ziyun Crane 4. Now, I'm going to tell you what exactly made Ziyun Crane 4 better than other gimbals. First, this is a very compact and a very lightweight. It's not very heavy in terms of the camera payload and all. The gimbal is not really heavy, and also you can see we have a very nice battery setup which makes the gimbal work for more than 12 hours. This gimbal is designed for professional filmmakers who wants to creative shooting, who wants to make a film with your camera, and this gimbal will let you make your kind of video. Now I'm going to tell you some small basic things how you can actually check about the camera payload and the balancing of a gimbal. For example, I have a camera mounted on the gimbal and we have 3 motors. One is this one tilt motor, one is the roll motor, and one is the pan motor. So the most important thing we have to see that our camera must be balanced. I tell you one thing, balancing is really easy in this gimbal because we have very simple operations to make the camera balance. We just only have to see that the camera stays at one particular point where we put and hold it. So it's like we are holding it here, it stays there, we are holding it here, it stays there. That means the camera is perfectly balanced. And if you want to make a 360 shot, you also have to balance this pan motor, which allows you to take the 360 angle of the video in any kind of lower ground shot or upper shots in the 360. So the basic operation of this gimbal is very simple. You just only have to power it on. Let me just show you that. Just put the power on button. We have a bigger LED screen here which lets you to use any kind of feature if you want. We have a joystick control which lets you to move the camera in the gimbal left and right, up and down and rolling. And we also have the front trigger which allows you to change the modes instantly and also make the camera automatic center by double pressing it. We have a wheel control which allows you to control the camera and the gimbal from this wheel. So we can actually assign different features to this front wheel. So we have a lot of things to do in that. So the first thing, we need to press and hold the power button to make the camera auto balance. You can see now the camera goes automatically in the center. Now it's perfectly on. So we are actually going to use different modes. First of all, we have to understand that which mode you're going to use. So if you are just shooting a wedding, or maybe you're shooting a video for your advertisement or some other stuff, maybe you're shooting some kind of rallies or school videos or some events, you have to understand that which mode you should work on. So the first most important mode is pan follow mode. Pan follow is basically when you follow the panning mode with the hand movement. Like if I'm just using my hand left and right, the camera follows my hand movement. That is a pan movement. But when I just go up and down, you can see the camera stays straight. That means the tilt motor is not moving. The tilt is straight. That means the tilt is on the lock mode. So the motor is locked to one frame, but the pan is moving according to my hand movement. But if I just go to the mode and change the lock pan follow to lock mode, you can see the pan follow is gone. Now it's totally locked in one frame. Locking mode basically is used to operate some sliding shots. So if you just want to create a sliding shot, you can actually move the camera left and right, and then you can see the camera can perform realistic slider. So if you have a plan to buy a slider, I will suggest don't buy a slider, because the gimbal can be performed as a slider with the locking mode. The next mode is the full follow mode. So in the modes, you can actually see multiple modes. First is the pan follow, second is the locking, third is the full follow mode. Full follow mode means that you can actually use your gimbal to perform the left and right and the up and down movement with the hand movement. So the camera can move according to your hand movement, up and down and left and right. That is a full follow mode. And the next mode is POV. So in the follow mode, when you are doing the left, right, up and down, that was a follow mode, which moves the pan and the tilt motor. But in the POV mode, that is a POV, point of view, you can even do up and down, left and right, and also the roll movement with your hand movement. So POV lets all the motor moves according to your hand movement. This is basically used on certain areas where you want to shoot some ambient shots, some kind of group shots, where you want to track the camera from top to bottom and do some kind of creative dramatic movements like left slide, clockwise, anti-clockwise. You can use according to your hand movement, and you don't have to use the joystick all the time. Now the next movement is the go mode. Go mode is really fast mode, which can be used for sports shooting. So if you're shooting some soccer match or cricket or maybe football or tennis, something, you want to track the ball, you want to track the movement, you can actually move it very fast. So you can see the movement goes very fast with the go mode. So it depends like what kind of video you are shooting. So you can actually choose the mode according to that. The next one is a vortex. Vortex is a 360. The camera automatically goes on top, and you can use the joystick to control the camera movement to the 360 shot. That's a vortex shot. And this shot is really required when you're shooting some music videos, when you're shooting some car videos, you're shooting some wedding, some kind of entry. You want to give some kind of dramatic view of one particular subject. So you can use the 361, and instantly you will just change the mode to pan follow, the camera goes straight. So you have something which allows your camera to work very stable. And the last mode we have in this one is portrait mode. Sometimes you want to shoot a vertical video, so you can actually use the portrait mode, which makes the camera goes to the vertical position. So portrait mode is basically the vertical mode. And if you don't want this mode, you can also use the easy switching of this plate from landscape to vertical. So you can actually unmount the camera from this plate and instantly switch the camera to the portrait mode. So these are the modes which actually we use in the gimbal. Now we have a special feature here, which is a small wheel here. If you just press and hold this one, you can see the light powers on. You can see the light is here. We have added a silicon diffuser to make a little more smoother and softer light, but you can also increase the intensity because this is 10 watt inbuilt light, which can also change the color temperature by just moving the wheel. You can see it's very easy. I'm just playing with the gimbal, just moving the wheel, and it shows like the white color or the yellow color. Press again, it can increase or decrease the intensity. Press and hold, it turns off. So it's a very simple operation. Sometimes in some areas where you want to fill a little light effect, you don't have an extra person who can actually put the different lights. Of course, you can buy Xeon other lights, but if you want the gimbal light to focus on a particular area of the face or the area, you can actually use this 10 volt LED light, which is sufficient for a small area. So now this gimbal can be performed in many ways. You can actually buy the handheld, if you want to use some extra accessories. In the right side, you can see this is the Weebill 3S, which is having some extra accessories like the sling handle and the wrist rest. These two things can also be attached to this one, or if you buy the combo version, you can actually get these things along with the product. So the wrist rest is very important. That makes your work more easier. If you want to work for a long time, like you're shooting for like a long day, you're shooting running videos or music videos, you want to take a ground level shots. So the whole camera body weight divides in your arm with the help of this wrist rest, because when you just hold it like this, you can see it rests on your arm, and then when you just make it down, you can see that you will not feel any pain in your arm, and there's no weight in your hand because the weight is divided in your arm. And this is the sling handle. Sling handle is basically used to make your shooting more easy and more convenient, because sometimes when you're doing some precise movements, you can hold this one to make more smooth movements, and you can also move it like that, so that you can actually take the ground angle shots, and you can see it rests on your finger. It's like a very simple operation. So this basically two accessories are really important when you are shooting with the gimbal. So it depends, like if you use the combo version, you get this along with that. If you want the standard version, you get only the gimbal. You can connect the camera with the gimbal with the help of a Bluetooth. So every camera right now has the Bluetooth feature. With the Bluetooth, you can control this button for the focus, half press focus and full press recording. And also, if you want to control the aperture, ISO, shutter speed of the camera, you can use a special cable which is already coming along with the product. So we have a lot of cables you can use with your Canon, with the Sony, for Fuji, for Panasonic, and you can actually connect those cables with the camera and the gimbal, and then you can actually control ISO, shutter speed, focus with the help of this front wheel. And this front wheel can also be assigned to different modes, like you can actually use a pan mode with the wheel, you can use a roll mode with the wheel. So if you are more like having a precise movement, you don't want the joystick to move, you can actually use the wheel to move that. And for that we have to go to the settings, and you can actually see the control wheel. I am just now changing the control wheel to, you can see the x-axis or z-axis. You control left and right, you see the movement is going on. You don't have to control the joystick. Control to the X, you see the X is going on. So this way you can actually control the roll, even you can control the roll. And the front trigger, press double, like press it twice and then the camera goes to the center. And press thrice, the camera goes for the selfie mode. So if you want to shoot your own selfie, beautiful face, then you can actually use this one. Otherwise, press thrice again, it goes for the normal mode. This front trigger can also be performed and assigned to one specific operation. Like, for example, we have the trigger mode in the gimbal setting. So you don't have to go in the app, in the app. You only have to control the gimbal with the back display, and this display is really big and touch screen. So you just only have to use your finger to choose which option you want to go, touch that, and then you can set your camera mode. Now the front trigger can be assigned in different ways. So now, for example, right now I'm using this pan follow mode, but when I press it once and I move it, it goes to the locking. So I switch the mode by just clicking this trigger. So this trigger can be used to perform and switch from different mode, from pan follow to follow, and instantly when you're walking, you don't have to touch all the time your modes. You just only have to press the trigger and you can actually change the mode to locking to pan follow and pan follow to locking, or maybe any other mode. So these are all the modes in the gimbal which helps you to perform different variations and different shootings. I think this gimbal is very much suitable for the professional filmmakers who actually are doing some good job for their films. And if you just want to use the manual lenses, you can also attach a motor which is supplied as an add-on accessory. So you can actually buy a motor, you can connect the motor with the lens, and then you can actually use the wheel to control the motor, to control the focus or the zoom. And you can also add two motors. So we have the option of controlling the focus or the zoom all together. So it's totally depending on you that what kind of project you are going with the Crane 4. You can do a lot of operations. And you can also have one important setting, that is a deadband setting in the Crane 4 gimbal. That is basically important for those professional filmmakers who wants very precise movements, like if they want to move their hand instantly, they want to move the camera according to the hand movement, or maybe they want to have a particular movement, a degree, like 5 to 10 degree with no movement, and after the 5 degree or 10 degree movement, they can actually use that one. So for that, we recommend the filmmakers to use the deadband, which is a very specialized feature in the Crane 4 and all the Zhiyun gimbals. So in the settings, you can see the deadband values of the pan, tilt and roll. So you can actually control the deadband value, like if you want to increase the tilt, so you can actually work and walk with the gimbal, and then you see very much precise movement of the tilt, and after a certain angle the camera can move according to your hand movement. So deadband is also very important when you are performing a very precise movement while running or while taking a movement of the camera.